Have you ever stopped to think about why you have the habits you do? I mean, really think about it. You might chalk it all up to willpower or personal choice, but what if I told you that every single day your habits are being shaped by this invisible architecture built entirely by the people you surround yourself with? Today we're going to pull back the curtain on the powerful social forces that guide our behavior, a lot of times without us even having a clue.
So, let's start our story with this pretty wild belief from a Hungarian psychologist named Laszlo Polgar. He just flat out rejected the whole idea of innate talent. He was absolutely convinced that a genius isn't born, they're made. And he believed this so strongly that he basically bet his own children's entire future on it.
I mean, that was the big question driving him, right? Could you actually engineer a genius from the ground up? So Polgar decided he was going to prove his theory not in some sterile lab, but in his own home. And in doing so, he launched one of the most incredible experiments in human history. And the field he chose for this grand experiment? Chess. He and his wife, Clara, set out to create an environment so perfect, so all-consuming, that it would produce not one, but 3 chess prodigies, completely from scratch. Now, when I say all-consuming, I mean it. This was not some casual after-school hobby. Their method was total, absolute immersion. The Polgar house was basically a shrine to chess. Books, trophies, pictures of famous matches everywhere. The girls were homeschooled, and their days were just packed with practice, study, and play. Their entire existence was engineered for one purpose: to create chess masters. So, did it actually work? Oh, yeah. The results were staggering. I mean, beyond what anyone could have possibly imagined. All 3 daughters, Susan, Sophia, and Judith, became absolute chess legends. And Judith, the youngest, didn't just succeed, she shattered Bobby Fischer's long-standing record to become the youngest grandmaster in history. It was just this stunning proof of her father's crazy idea. Now, you might be hearing all this and thinking, wow, that sounds awful, so grueling. But for the Polgar sisters, it was just normal. It was their life, and they loved it. See, in a culture that praised and rewarded chess above everything else, obsession became the norm. It became fun. This quote from Sophia says it all. The passion wasn't forced on them. It was a natural result of living in a world where chess was the coolest, most exciting thing you could possibly do. The Polgar story, while, yeah, it's pretty extreme, it points to this fundamental truth about all of us, about human nature. We are all so deeply influenced by the norms of our tribes. We have this deep-seated primal need to fit in, to belong. And that's where social norms come in. Think of them as the invisible rules that guide pretty much everything you do. You have to remember, we're herd animals. For our ancient ancestors, fitting in wasn't about being popular. It was about survival. If you got cast out from the tribe, that was literally a death sentence. And that ancient programming, it is still running in our brains today, constantly nudging us to conform to the expectations of our groups. The philosopher Montaigne totally nailed this centuries ago. We're often just swept along by the habits of our culture, without even giving it a second thought. We just download the behavioral scripts from our family, our friends, our society, and we hit play on autopilot. Okay, so how does this actually work in our day-to-day lives? Well, it turns out we're most likely to copy the habits of 3 very specific types of social groups. And if you can understand these 3, you can start to intentionally shape your own behavior. And here they are, the big 3. First, the close. That's your inner circle, your family and friends. Second, the many. That's the bigger tribe, the masses. And third, the powerful. These are the people with status and prestige, the ones we look up to. All right, let's start with the close. The people you spend the most time with, well, they have a massive impact on your habits. Proximity really is power here. We just soak up the behaviors of our parents, our partners, our best friends. Everything from the way we talk to the food we eat, we sort of unconsciously mirror them. And the science on this is just mind-blowing. One famous study followed 12,000 people for over 30 years. Get this. They found your chances of becoming obese shoot up by 57% if you have a close friend who becomes obese. 57%. The good news is, it totally works in reverse, too. Our inner circle creates this invisible peer pressure that's constantly pulling us toward whatever their normal is. Okay, next up is the many. Whenever we're not sure how to act in a situation, what do? We look around. We look to the crowd for clues on what's acceptable. And this pull to conform is unbelievably strong, which was shown perfectly in one of the most famous experiments in psychology. So, picture this. You walk into a room to take what you think is a simple vision test.
All you have to do is match the length of a line on a card to one of 3 other lines. It's super easy, a no-brainer. But then, one by one, everyone else in the room starts giving an answer that is clearly, obviously wrong. Now it's your turn. What do you say?
The results were just wild. In Solomon Ash's experiment, a whopping 75% of people caved to group pressure and gave the wrong answer at least once. They chose to go along with the crowd rather than believe their own 2 eyes. And what does that tell us? It shows just how deeply wired we are to get along with other people. The reward of being accepted, of belonging, often feels way better than the reward of being right. It takes real guts to stand alone and challenge the tribe. And that brings us to the third and final group, the powerful. As humans, we're naturally driven by a desire for power, for prestige, for status. So we're always on the lookout for behaviors that we think will earn us respect and admiration from others.
And you see this play out everywhere. We copy the habits of successful people because deep down, we want that success for ourselves. We'll use the marketing tactics of a top company, try a recipe from our favorite famous chef, or even start talking like a boss we really respect. Bottom line, if a behavior seems like it will get us approval and praise, we find it incredibly attractive. Okay, so we know we're hardwired to be influenced by the close, the many, and the powerful. That's a given. So the big question is, how do we make this work for us instead of against us? How can we harness these powerful social forces to build the habits we actually want? Well, here it is. The single most effective thing you can do is to intentionally join a culture where your desired behavior is already the normal behavior. Simple as that. Want to get in shape? Join a gym where people are serious about working out. Want to read more books? Join a book club. Your new habits suddenly feel so much more achievable when you see everyone around you doing them every single day. And this is where the real magic happens. There's this powerful psychological shift when you join a tribe. Your personal mission becomes a shared one. The identity flips from I to we. It's no longer just, I am a reader, it's we are a book club. I am a musician becomes we are a band. That shared identity reinforces your personal one, and it makes the habit stick like a glue. Because at the end of the day, that's the secret sauce. It's the friendship, the community, that feeling that you belong to something bigger than yourself. That's what really sustains motivation for the long haul, long after your initial excitement has faded. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Take an honest look at the invisible architecture of your own life. The friends you have, the communities you're a part of, the culture you spend your time in. Are they making your goals easier to achieve, or are they making them harder? Are they pulling you up, or are they holding you back?